You fainted because of the heat stroke? Oh, come on, you're already useless. Don't try to bother me even more. Oh, God, you're a real pain in the know that. I'm not going home today. I'm working until late at night. Also, I have an important meeting G right now. So do something about it on your own. See, yeah.
With that, my husband, Max, hangs up the phone. I fainted and I'm in pain, and he treats me. I guess he doesn't care about me yet.
What? The phone call I just had now? Oh, yeah, it was something about my fainting.
Oh, it seems like he didn't hang up the phone.
Really, she truly is a useless wife. Oh, I have a great idea. I think I'll take this opportunity her away and marry you since you're beautiful. Anyway, let's just enjoy what we have now, shall we?
My name is Tessa. I live with my daughter, Rebecca, who turned 5 years old, and my husband, who is a hardworking man. Max is a friend of a colleague from my old job, introduced to me by a colleague who saw me depressed after breaking up with my exie, who I was dating at the time. After about a year of dating, we got married. I worked for a few years after graduation, but now I'm a full-time housewife who actively participates in local volunteer activities. The reason why I became a full-time housewife is that Rebecca was born. I had actually planned to return to work after my maternity leave, but because my husband insisted me to quit my job, I did. According to Max, he says, it's better for children to be with their mothers, if she is a girl. Max loved children since we first met, had always said he wanted a child, and we just started to date. So when he found out that I was cried with joy. During my pregnancy, he left work and came back home early to be by my side as I suffered from morning sickness. He was a kind husband. He remained the same even after our Rebecca was born. Max was a devoted father who bathed after he came home from work and took his children to parks and theme parks on his days off. But recently, Max has been getting work and was even working on his day more and more.
Dad, what do you want to do today? I want to draw at home.
Sorry, Rebecca, I'd love to play Mick for you, but I really need to go now. So let's draw together some other.
It has been about 2 months since of conversation between Rebecca and Held every time he had a day off. It was sad and pitiful to see Rebecca rejected by Max. Although I was sad, I also thought that we were working really hard and doing our best as a family. So I couldn't really ask him to work his days off, which was a luxury we couldn't afford. And sometime later, during the height of summer's heat, I was strangely concerned about the growing in my garden that day, so I rested the morning weeding. I took a break for lunch around noon and was finishing up cleaning, doing laundry and other household chores when suddenly it became late afternoon. It was the time when elementary school children leave school. I took Rebecca with me and went out carpooling the kids as part of the volunteer work. I was impressed by all the elemental students who greeted me cheerfully off the heat, and we finished the view activity without any incident. When I returned home, dripping with the room was very hot. I immediately reached for the remote to turn on the AC, but I couldn't put any strength into my fingers to press the switch. Then my vision began to flicker and the surrounding scenery began to. I was unable to stand properly and I crouched down on the spot. The wooden floor felt cold. It finally occurred to me when I read a point. I remembered that I had only had tea lunchtime and had hardly drank any before or since then. I had been checking on Rebecca regularly, but I hadn't checked on myself. Even while I was thinking about this, my consciousness was fading away. Finally, I could no longer move Freon. At that time, Rebecca, who had said wanted to play in the garden, came. Seeing me fainted in the living room, Rebecca's eyes grew wide, and she saw me lying on the floor.
Mommy? What's wrong? Do you feel sick?
Rebecca rushes over to me. I couldn't speak and just nodded. Then Rebecca, although she was very young, sensed the urgency and ran out of the house and brought the neighbors over.
Mommy fainted. Please help.
The neighbor then used our home phone to call for an ambulance. While the ambulance was on its way hospital, I was barely conscious. I could see the worried faces of my who sympathized me and Rebecca. We arrived at the hospital, and I was taken to the emergency room where I was treated. As I had expected, it was heat stroke. It seemed to be pretty serious and instructed to take proper precaution heat stroke from now on. Meanwhile, Rebecca was holding my hand tightly. It was as if she was encouraging me, which made me feel a little better. I decided to ask my neighbor, who had accompanying me the whole time, to then. The neighbor had tried to keep me company until Max arrived. But I didn't want to bother the neighbor anymore. I would have to go and thank the neighbor after once I get much better. A little while later, when I was feeling better, I called Max, but I couldn't get through. I gave it some time and tried several times to call him, but the line never went through. Having no choice, I gave up trying Max and decided to focus on getting. Thanks to this, I finally recovered, able to walk. The doctor in charge of my case said I didn't need to be hospitalized, so Sally and I decided to go home. The sun had already set long ago, but Max didn't seem to be home yet. On the way home, I stopped by the store and waited for Max to come home while transferring the ready-made meal I purchased to his plate. But I didn't have any idea what was in it. When I finished preparing the meal, calling Max again. After ringing for a while, the phone connected.
Yes. Hello. Is there something wrong? I'm a little busy right now.
Oh, good. Finally, I'm able to reach you. I fainted due to a heat stroke today in the hospital for treatment, but I prepared your meal already. Shh, worry, okay? I know it's a pre-made meal, but how long do you think you'll be home for?
Oh, I see. I have an important meeting today, home very late. I don't even need dinner.
Max sounded like he was in a hurry, tried to hang up the phone.
Oh, hey.
It seemed like he had hung up the call. It still seemed to be connected. Perhaps he made a mistake and pressed the wrong button. As I was about to tell Max that the phone wasn't disconnected. I heard Max's voice on the other end of the line.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Oh yeah, it's my wife. She said she had some kind of heat.
It sounded like someone was talking, but I couldn't hear the voice clearly. From the pitch of her voice, it was a woman, but Max didn't have any female coworkers.
No, it's fine. She seemed fine and was probably just exaggerating. I mean, she stays at home Sing doesn't do anything. I don't know why she hasn't been let back to work. Even though she is a housewife, she does all the household chores, which is almost like taking care of our daughter. I might have married the wrong. I mean, my daughter is cute, but you...
I couldn't believe my ears when Max that. I subconsciously pushed the record button on my cell phone.
Oh, I have a good idea. Wouldn't it be great if I divorced my wife, took my daughter and remarried? A cute daughter, hardworking, you are a beautiful woman like you. And me, we have a great family, don't you think?
As Max said this, I heard someone see and laughing. Then I heard a clear voice coming closer to the phone.
Are you asking me to be the mother child all of a sudden? Well, your daughter is cute, so may not too bad of an idea. Well then, you have to promise me. Hurry up and divorce your current W. Become my husband.
Yes, I will. Anyway, let's continue with what we were talking about. I can be with you for a long time today.
And that was when I hung up the call. Just like when I fainted from heats, every power and energy had left my... It would be strange not to suspect cheating on me after hearing this conversation. Max had been lying to Rebecca and I whole time, and he was having an after another woman. I thought he was a good husband and a great family man, but he betrayed me. He used to be so kind. This is absolutely unforgivable. My anger toward Max rose. I want to get back at him somehow. Then I suddenly remembered. I wondered if the call I just heard was recorded properly or not. I checked my cell phone and played recorded data. Thank God it was in the middle of the night, but it was recorded properly. But this alone might not be enough of Max's affair. So later that day, I visited a detective agency with this recorded data. I asked for a background check on May, listened back to the recorded data brought into the agency. At first, we didn't notice it, but then some casual music started playing in the background on the call. The detective told us that the music in a TV commercial that was playing in certain hotel. And if it's that hotel, then that'd be near Max's workplace. From there, a week-long background check completed, and I was told the result. As I had expected, Max was having an affair with a woman at work. I had the detective stake out at that house on the days when he left for work. So he would be home late at night or days when he worked on his days off. The detective was able to capture his mistress entering the hotel with a photograph. The detective also checked out the other woman, Ashley, who had recently joined the company. According to the investigation, an affair between Ashley and the company began a month after she joined. In the beginning, they were just ex-cheeky emails, but they got a taste they started having an affair. Just hearing the story is horrifying. Anyway, now I was finally ready to face them. Then came Sunday. Max tried to leave the house again, had to work on his day off, but I already knew that was a lie because I had already checked with his workplace in advance. I had already confirmed with Max he isn't that busy where he had 2 hours per month for the past months, upcoming months. That was what Max's boss had told me. When I tried to confirm with Max, he seemed to give me a hint about what was going on, but I just couldn't understand his answers and quickly hung up the phone. I told Rebecca to go play in her room. Max was about to leave when I stopped him and sat him down on the sofa in the living room.
Hey, I need to talk to you about Sun.
I've told you before, I have to go today too.
Stop lying. I know everything.
I presented Max with the evidence of the affair that I had received from the investigation. Max then had a surprised look, which crap.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? While I was in the hospital after Faye from heat stroke, you were happily affair yourself, weren't you? Rebecca was asking you to play with her. You lied and had an affair with another woman, right? Do you realize what you did?
Then Max knelt down on the floor at his head.
Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't mean it, because it's that woman's fault. She forced herself onto me because that I was easy to get to. I'm a victim too.
Max said things that I couldn't tell was apologizing for making excuses, so I began to play for him. It was that recording. Max's face turned red and then got listened to the recording.
The only reason I became a housewife was to fulfill your wishes. And when I say I'm doing the housework, just take the garbage that I put in the bin. You take care of Rebecca, you bathe, play with her, but I'm the one who of Rebecca during most of the day. Where did that kind and gentle person go to?
Max mutters, "That's a shame."
I'll divorce you, just like you wanted, but I will raise Rebecca on my own. Always have. It's not good for her education if with a liar like you. Oh, that's right. You and your mistress will be both with alimony.
As I said this, I threw the divorce Max. Max just stared at it as it fluttered in the air. Then Rebecca, who was supposed to be in her room, came in. She had apparently gone to the bathroom.
Daddy, you're not going to work today? Then come play with me. Didn't you say the other day that you would draw with me?
Rebecca said that as she hugged Max. At that point, Max finally realized had done and how he could never take, so he hugged Rebecca back and quiet started to cry. In the end, Max and I got a divorce. When I saw the two of them embracing each other, I really questioned myself about what was the right thing to do, thinking that I might have taken her father away from my own dad. But in the end, I did the right thing. Some may think, how could you divorce someone over a single mistake? But thinking about Rebecca's future, that our divorce was inevitable, because someone who has betrayed you once is likely to do it again. After the divorce, as I had declared previously, I demanded alimony from Max and his mistress and received it. I will be using this money to rebuild my home. According to the rumors, the mistress had a habit of spending money on luxury items, selling all the brand bags and accessories she had been collecting in order to pay the alimony and still trying to make ends meet. It seems that she didn't want her pa know that she was paying alimony for a fare. The mistress, who was left almost penniless, is now quietly and soberly going about her business. Max apparently thought about return, parents' home near his workplace. Accused of his own affair and got by his parents. He now lives alone in an apartment. And since Max and his mistress were a affair in the office, there were people who were suspicious of their relationship and Max's divorce seal. I had a hard time explaining it to Rebecca.
We're going to live separately from now on.
When I said that, Rebecca looked at me and asked, "So when can we see Daddy again?" So I decided to let Rebecca see Max until she was older and had learned to understand things better. Of course, I will always be there to accompany her. I guess at some point, I'll have to tell Rebecca exactly what happened during the divorce. Right now, this is probably not the best time to bring it up. Besides, every time Max sees Rebecca reminded of the foolishness of his, I hope he realizes what he had done and regrets what he has done. As for Rebecca and me, we're able to live in the house we've been thanks to the support of my parents. Thankfully, I also found a job. I mentioned that I was looking for a job to someone I was volunteering with in the community, and he introduced me to someone the following week. Plus, it was a job that I had experience with in the past, so although there were some gaps in between, I should be able to regain my instincts soon. Besides the person who introduced us to the job, our neighbors are also looking out for us in some way. When we meet them at the supermarket, we could casually ask if they have any problems or bring them some food. After my divorce from Max, I became a single mother of a child. So I am always anxious about what could happen in the future. But with the support of the kind people around me, I feel like I am able to lead a happy life.